Hello, I'm John Fern, Managing Director of Practice Financial Management, Wealth Management, and today I've taken the opportunity to come down to Schroders' London office as we approach our first anniversary of our blended portfolios to talk to Tim Carr, who's one of the investment directors at Schroders Investment Solutions, to give you a refresher of why we selected Schroders to progress our portfolios and to give you the opportunity to learn more about how Schroders operate and the advantages that it's brought to our company to offer you more services. So Tim, could you just give us a brief insight into Schroders' background and what they bring to PFM clients?
Hello, John. Of course. So Schroders has over 200 years of heritage in managing investments. And it's that long-standing history that gives us that reputation for trust, stability, and enduring client partnerships such as this one. Schroders manages over £750 billion of assets, managed by nearly 800 investment professionals across asset classes such as equities, the shares of companies, the debt of companies, alternative asset classes such as commodities, gold, private markets such as private equity, real estate, etc. And beyond that, Schroders is a committed, active fund manager. And that means we're committed to adding long-term value through deep research and selective investments of individual companies and securities to deliver that long-term value. And I really think it's that combination of heritage, expertise, active expertise, and scale that enables us to deliver precise solutions designed for specific client needs that we've been aimed to build for the PFM dental portfolios and your end clients.
Well, we've been extremely satisfied with the performance leading up to our first anniversary in what's been an incredibly challenging environment. We spent a substantial amount of time looking at which partnership we should work with. And the one thing that came through was, besides the pedigree and history of your company, the enormous amount of data that was brought into the think tank that allowed you to then move on to your processes. So could you give us an insight into how your team works around the globe and how it arrives at its decision-making processes?
Yes, of course. Now, I mentioned nearly 800 fund managers at Schroders across all those asset classes. Then your portfolios are managed by what we call the multi-asset team. So the multi-asset team within Schroders is over 140 people and 190 billion of assets. And then if we go drill another layer down, our Schroders Investment Solutions team are part of that multi-asset team, and we're very much focused on the UK advisory market, so for clients such as yours. So what we do is combine all that underlying asset class expertise with our expertise in constructing portfolios very much tailored to individual client requirements. So what that means, as you know, in the context of the PFM portfolios, is 5 risk-profiled funds depending on the individual needs of your clients. From those in the more cautious portfolios that have a greater allocation to defensive assets, such as bonds and cash, to those with perhaps higher return targets or greater risk tolerance targets in the adventurous and speculative portfolios, where they'll have a much higher allocation to return-seeking assets such as equities.
I think we've been impressed with the way that the fund actually includes traditional assets, actively managed funds, passive funds, and then the alternative section that can capitalise on the frontiers where the market's growing around the globe. Could you elaborate on how you gain price advantages for our clients through your scale?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's through 2 ways, one of which is scale, as you rightly point out. So, I mentioned some big numbers earlier, and we're investing large sums of money with third-party fund managers, external managers. We are investing in the whole of market, as I like to put it. What that scale does is enable us to negotiate the best fee deals with those underlying clients, beyond which are more sort of the headline fee levels, which generates a saving through that scale, at which we're then able to pass on to you and your clients. The other way we keep costs lower is through the blended approach. So we're combining investments in those active funds, those picking individual companies and stock picking, with what are known as passive investments. So in other words, we're buying the whole of market through an index fund, which come in at much lower cost. And that does two things: enables us to access individual markets in the most effective, the most efficient way, preserving the investment integrity of our portfolios, but it does bring down that headline cost. So the overall cost to clients is roughly half that of a purely active portfolio.
Brilliant. Well, I think that the quarterly review process that's been fully engaged into our portfolios, mixed with price sensitivity, asset allocation, and the diversity of defensive and growth assets, has already reaped rewards in a challenging environment. So we're very satisfied with the progress that's been made, and we're delighted to have been associated with Schroders over the last 12 months and looking forward to decades ahead.
No, well, thank you, John. I'm pleased it's got off to such a strong start too. I really genuinely believe that our requirements are aligned with those, are aligned with the needs of your clients, and that enables us to bring that heritage, that expertise to these portfolios. And I also think it's important that your clients have peace of mind. They understand what's going on in those portfolios. So that's why we're committed to the quarterly reports, committed to events such as this, so that a client will look at his portfolio, understand what's in it, how it's built, how it's performing, and ultimately have the peace of mind to stay invested and have the best chance of realising their own individual goals.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great to have access to Schroders services today, and on an ongoing basis. It's a very challenging global economic market, and being able to call in your support for instant replies to market conditions has just added extra value to our proposition to clients. If you want any more information, don't hesitate to contact us through the website or through our main office line. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, John.